with that, what we're going to do is move right into some of the questions. Again, the goal here, with the evolution of the WAN network and infrastructure, we went from from point-to-point networks to frame relay, now to MPLS, to public IP VPNs. I mean, it's completely evolving. And as we talked about with cloud service today, SIP trunking, a product that truly wasn't baked in 2005, although it was marketed and sold, it wasn't baked. And many of us got black eyes when we went out there and marketed it. Today, if you're not on that bandwagon selling SIP and selling these things, you're losing your clients. Traditional TDM will be a thing of the past in the next 5 years. And those are some of the challenges that we used to be able to go out, get the network locations, go out, get a quote from 3 or 4 different providers, and really not have to have a very strong understanding of that. You'd go out and it's really became a price play. Today that's totally different, particularly with mobile workforce, all the security and compliance issues that are out there. So those are the questions that we bring to our panelists today to really give a little more insight to what's happening with the carriers. And the nice part, you've got probably 50 years of experience sitting here in front of you, and more importantly, they've got sales forces that they represent that day in and day out, are pounding it with the things they need to serve their clients. So you're really going to get a good representation of what's required out in that environment today to really be an advocate for your customer, more of a value add. I think it's so hard from our perspective, at least at Clover, every client has unique needs. We really focus on understanding their needs and then trying to find out what's the right fit for them. And there's nothing cookie cutter about that anymore today. So it's real important, the more you know and understand about the options available in your client, the better you're going to be, the better advocate you're going to be in the long term, you're going to keep that relationship. Because us, it's really about the existing client, not the new client. And I think most people in the channel that work on a residual model, that is really critical to our business, that we do everything we can for that existing client, even if that means removing them from an existing service, bringing them to a new carrier who has products and features that meet their changing needs today. So, with that, we're going to roll right into it with some questions, and I'm going to roll the first question, which is a pretty broad question out to Ray Watson, and we're going to have everybody sort of contribute anything you'd like to. But what are the key factors in 2013 that you feel significantly influenced WAN design? Right?
Sure. So that's a wide open one. Yeah. All right. Well, good. It's 9 a.m. in Vegas, so I think I'll make this really, really simple for those of you that want a mnemonic device. When it comes to wide area network design, these days it's all about A, B, and C. So just remember the ABCs. First and foremost, by far, is applications. Every conversation that you have with your enterprise customers needs to begin and end with the applications. If you're not talking to them about Microsoft Link and VMware, then shame on you. If you're still talking about kilobits and T1s and DS0s, you've already lost the conversation. You need to be talking to everybody about their actual applications. And applications begins and ends every single conversation. The second one, the B of the ABC, is bring your own device. BYOD, guys, is so hot, it's incredible. You cannot have a conversation with a CIO or a CTO that doesn't involve BYOD initiatives. 5 years ago, we went to a company and they handed you a BlackBerry, and most IT guys had a Bez. You guys remember that? Anybody show hands? And then when you separated from that company, they took the BlackBerry back, or maybe they wiped it, right? These days, the average information worker has 2.2 devices. So we all have tablets. We all have smartphones. We all have laptops. Maybe we have a Mac. The days of a company-issued Dell are way past us. And there's security challenges around BYOD. And it's very important when you talk about WAN design, and all communications actually, to take that into account. The C of the ABC is convergence. A lot of folks at Channel Partners this year will talk to you about SIP or about high-definition video conferencing. But guys, at the end of the day, it's really about convergence. It's about using those types of communication, just like any other application that's on the network. It just so happens it's the most important application. So the key factors in 2013 that significantly influence WAN design are applications, BYOD, and convergence.
Heather, Eric, anything you want to add to that?
I think that was a great summation. I don't think you can go much further than that.
Did you rehearse that, Brad?
In the shower.
Yeah. All right, the next question, Heather Salberg. What are some MPLS design options that allow clients to address disaster recovery and business continuity today?
Well, the beauty of MPLS is on the access options, and that's really what is fabulous for customers today. It's easy enough to obtain a 10 meg Ethernet circuit from the LEC or an OC3 or a T1 or looking at disaster recovery and options for customers, now you can start to mix in wireless, whether it's LTE or something like that, microwave. So there are so many options to give customers true disaster recovery options. MPLS is so robust in the ability to handle the routing and failover and various different pieces. So then the real trick in dealing with the customers, helping them evaluate what does it mean if I go down? And how do I now assess, okay, that's the damage if I lose this primary link. So how big does my alternate link need to be? And does it range from something simple like an internet access from a different provider? Or is it wireless? Or do we have to look at bringing in fiber from an alternate provider that comes in through an alternate access point in the building? So the options are very robust, and the conversation with the customer, again, it goes back to exactly what Ray was saying with what applications are they running, what does it mean to their business, and you start there.
Kurt, anything to add?
Agreed. I mean, having some sort of backup is key. Wireless being the biggest that we're seeing today.
Are you seeing, I think in the industry, how much of the conversation is around business continuity with clients?
I think all of it. I think it all begins and ends with either business continuity or disaster recovery. I think Heather has some really good points. One of the things that we see in my business is that scalability is huge. Disaster recovery 5 years ago looked like this. You had a big corporate office, maybe you had a SunGuard data center, it typically wasn't carrier neutral, and you almost hoped that you never had to try it, right? These days, we're seeing a lot more customers, Heather, that are using multimodal access methods like wireless, wired, IPsec over the internet, anything and everything with QoS, but it needs to be infinitely scalable. You've got to be able to carry the load during that disaster. And one of the things that we always advocate is that you quarterly test that. You test that every 3 months to a certain degree, and every year to a full degree, just to see what the implications are. There's a few companies out there today as virtualization that's taking off that are actually load balancing between their data centers, so that one is actually running, January to June, and the other's from primary from July through December. And that's kind of a new thing that we're seeing in the business continuity space, is that alternating between the two facilities.
And any questions out there around business continuity? Because we find at Clover and all our account managers that are out there is that is the entire conversation. Is we need to be up. We need to be up all the time. We need access to our infrastructure, our network, and more importantly, our applications. All the time. But any questions for the panel? Here about